Good evening, good evening. I'm hoping that it's actually 7 o'clock, maybe 7:01. It's Real Talk Live with Rodney Brown's People to People, Power to Power, Positive Thinking People. I'm just blessed to be able to come to you again, and I take this opportunity to come to you very seriously about a topic that I think is very much important for us to go over and people just to deal with. First of all, it's Real Talk Live with Rodney Grimes, People to People, Power to Power, Positive Thinking People. Our topic today is family and relationships. I just kind of jotted down different, people who have relationships and family, but we're going to kind of just go back and forth because relationships covers everything. It covers everything. And how many of us are really struggling with relationships in our family? And, we just got to think about, what is it that we do to cause the problems in our relationships, and what is it that we do to fix it? Most of all, when you look at yourself first, always look at the person in the mirror. Don't point the finger at somebody else. Look at yourself and check out to see what's going on in your life. What are you doing? What type of person are you? Some of us think we know ourselves, but we really don't. Or sometimes we are the type of people we lie to ourselves over and over and over, think I'm Mr. Perfect, or I don't do anything wrong, or it's always their fault, his fault, her fault, their fault. And if you really want to just look at what we are today, and I'm telling you, this pandemic has really opened up a lot of people's eyes, but it's given a lot of people the opportunity to really check themselves out. And also the people that you grew up with, the ones you live with, your neighbors, your co-workers. It kind of brought a lot of things to the forefront. And it's very important that we be real. And that's what I like when I say real talk. We keep it real and we go after the facts and the truth. They say the truth will set you free. I decided to do this special today because some things, when I be talking to you because things I have to experience as well. And a lot of times that's how we relate to each other, And so I don't come across like I'm no expert. I'm just a person that I like to talk and I like to help people and I love trying to help myself. So I'm constantly in battle with trying to make myself become a positive thinking individual. I had to drink a little bit of that water because my wife said I'll be messing up the water. I don't be drinking it like I'm supposed to, so I'm trying to focus on that. So let's get started because this is probably going to really be some serious conversation going on. Also, if you want to call in and chime in, feel free. The number is 301-793-7342. Please, if you're going to call in, you got some issues you want to talk about, feel free to come and join me. I have no problem with that at all. Matter of fact, Lady Z, you might want to get the other stand so if somebody do call, you will be able to attach the phone when you get a chance. So let's just get started. First of all, do we really understand? And I would ask a question to many people: is blood thicker than? How did that go? Blood is thicker than water. Isn't that how they say blood is thicker than water? Is that how you determine who family is? When they say things like that, blood is thicker than water, You want to know if that's really the truth. Now let me tell you. When I was in the Marine Corps, I met some brothers, and when I said brothers, I'm not talking about just black ones. I'm talking to some white ones too. That's what they became to me, because they had to look after me, and they have to put their life on the line to make sure that I survived just as well as I had to do that for them. And when you start to live with a person or be around a person and it gets to that point where things are that serious, you start to develop a relationship that's not blood, and we just have to use it as the water part of it, right? But you start to get that bond. Or you have that person that you grew up with that lived down the street that y'all like this, nothing can come between you. They say blood's thicker than water, but not all the time does that play a factor, or is that true? I have a brother down in Baltimore. I always say he's a brother from another mother, Malik Blandon. This guy, man, many times has come to my rescue, sometimes financially, spiritually, and always supported me, just doing what he could do to help move me forward. And Zena, bring that around this way. All of no. So, I'm sorry. So, let me get back on my thought here. So, I was speaking about my brother down in Baltimore. So, this guy, he's just been there to support me 100%. And I tell you, it's just so much I can say for him, that he's been a real serious support for me. So let me get back on track, because I know that I got thrown off. It's we was trying to set something up, and I just didn't want something to fall. So excuse me. So anyway, is blood thicker than water? Is blood thicker than water? You ask yourself that, and think about your relationships with different people. So the first one, so I'm gonna go through. I got someone on here that I just want to think about and talk about, and so I want you to think about how is your relationship with these people. So in a family, do you know your position? In a family, you got the oldest and the youngest. You got the middle kid. You can have 5, 6 people that's siblings, and then you have the oldest. Then you got next to the oldest, and then you got the one that's in the middle. Then you got the other one that comes in, and then you got the baby. How do that plays? And sometimes that happen, and then you'll go, and then you even have another one to come in that just slipped in through the crack somewhere, that you found out that was a child, what we would call illegitimate child, but we shouldn't say that, because any child is a gift to this earth. And so we have those situations, right? Do you know your position? How your position plays? What is it that comes to you that make you the responsible one, that's responsible for everybody? And what's the position that put you in the position where you always got your hands out asking people to help you, always wanting something? Most of the time, the youngest one is the very spoiled one, because that's the one everybody want to protect, and they develop these characteristics about themselves that they always right, or they want things their way, or they can't do no wrong, or if they do some wrong, they don't want anybody to point the finger at them. Real talk, right? Real talk. Then you have your middle child, who will be dealt with like, I'm catching all the slack from the oldest one, and the little one getting away with everything, or nobody's paying attention to the little one, the middle one, because the little one getting all the attention, and the middle one is just sitting there trying to say, okay, what about me? And the oldest one, in a lot of cases, will have everything dumped on them, to a point where they're saying, well, you're the oldest, so you're responsible for everybody. What happens in that relationship? So let's start with say brothers and sisters. The brothers and sisters, you have say if you had a older sister, your sister was the oldest, and then you have the brother that's next to the oldest, but he's a male now, and gets in that situation where y'all growing up. How does the relationship form? Do the sister really feel dominant? Most cases, she does if she has a good advantage in time, if she's a lot older. And one thing that you think about with females, they're more nurturing anyway. They have a tendency to care for the other siblings a little different than the male would. But still, the responsibility falls on the oldest child. And sometimes that becomes a problem. How many people in a relationship with your family members, being the oldest, that you find yourself in a bad situation. You find yourself, everybody looking at you, everybody wanting you to be perfect, everybody wanting you to take care of everybody else. Sometimes they forget about your needs. How does that affect you? And when it's a sister and brother, you know, the male, as he gets older and older and older, he has this dominant thing becomes, you know, and it's just with the men, we have that. We become very dominant. It can become a problem. It can become a problem. And then the sisters, who develop a lot faster than males anyway, the females, they have a tendency to see things from a different perspective. What kind of relationships do you have when you kind of run into those walls? What about when it's the brother to brother? Okay? You have an older brother, middle brother, and a younger brother. The older brother catches it. The middle brother, he learns a little bit from the older brother, and the younger brother just got his hands out pulling from both ends, the middle brother and the older brother. And it's the sisters in there, it's still this is the younger person, the younger sibling. How does that affect the relationships? Now, when I'm saying all this, when I'm really talking about how does it reflect the relationships, is when we become adults. How is it then? Do you know your position? How does it affect you? And a lot of us get in positions where we think that the older brother or sister will get in position and think they know everything because they're the oldest. Now, that's not always the case. Sometimes it's the younger one that'll come up and then start making the moves and making things happen. Or the middle child. What happens in that relationship? Well, let's stop and think about it. A lot of times we need to not point the finger and get upset of the relationships that may develop that we don't have total control over. As the older child will be in a position where they be like saying, you know what, I had to do everything. I had to take care of you, I had to watch for you, I had to take care of your clothes, I had to feed you, I had to do everything for you when mom and dad was at work. And here you disrespected me at this point. And as you get older, we have a problem. But then you realize also when the younger person is getting older too, that's where the older individual, the older brother or older sister, looks at the younger one and do not give them their proper respect. And it starts to become problems. I'm talking about relationships. How many of us have those problems? A lot of us. A lot of us. What about sisters and brothers that have two different fathers or two different mothers and they don't live in the same house? What about situations like that? What kind of relationships do you develop from that? I know some people, man, they be feuding because they feel like they have the right, more so because the father and mother is with this group of the kids and this other family, they don't have that. And it becomes a problem. How do you deal with that? Do you face it? Do you look at it? Do you just put it to the side? The question will be, do you have a relationship or is it just a situation? Do you have a relationship? And who do you blame for these situations as they occur? So, I'm going to kind of slow down a minute because I want you to think about something. As parents, a lot of times we don't think about what we do around the children that affect the kids. Whether it's one child or 5 or 6 or 10, the parents in the relationships do not think about what affects the children. When you had a father who was sleeping around and he got kids all over the place. Okay? And the mother over here, she's feeling embarrassed because all of a sudden 4, 5 other kids popped up that she didn't know about. What happens in those situations like that? How do you build a relationship? What kind of relationship comes out of that? And then we got the envy that start to come within the siblings. Because they mad because maybe you look more like your dad or you look more like your mom than they do because they are from another mother or another father. I know a situation where two kids in the house, two different fathers, and one kid got a lot of attention and the other one didn't in certain situations. And what happened is that their relationship became tarnished based on the fact that when the reality of, okay, we got two different dads, you know, you start to feeling like I'm a little different from you, or that's why you can do these things, or that's why you do these things that way, or whatever the case may be. We got to think about our relationships. What about our aunts and uncles? How do they play a factor in our life too? Family, 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 and the relationships in the family, they can disrupt your life and make you miserable. We have people that are miserable based on the fact of the family structure. Because we don't know our position, we don't give the respect or the love that we're supposed to give to each other. I wanted to have some other people to be on and talk about these things because I don't, you know, I'm talking from experience, and also I'm talking from the fact that I've had conversation with many, many other people, and they told me about the issues they have with their brothers and sisters, people not speaking, they wait till their brother or sister is in the casket, and then they go and they look at them while they laying in the casket dead. And I'm sure if they got any kind of heart, that they start then to feel like, you know what, I should have said this while they were alive. I should have told them I loved them. But I was so mad at him because he sold me a car for $300 and the muffler fell off. I stopped speaking to him for 10 years. And then you look around and it's too late because of the relationships. Relationships is part of this family thing I'm talking about, because relationships bring people together. And people that are not blood become family too. And you have those relationships that can go bad. How many of us out there go through that? How many of us really envy our sisters and brothers? How many of us are really seriously going and saying, you know what? I'm going to speak on an individual in my family. Some of y'all that may know me, I have a sister named Kim. So if you know my sister, I'm not going to put her business out there like that, but if you know my sister, let me tell you about my sister. From my perspective, she's like a hero in my life. My sister gave me everything that she could. She always was there to love me, feed me, sometimes clothe me. And as she got older, the people that know my sister, she had some complications. But she's still my older sister, and I still respect her. To this day, I respect her because of her position and my position. I still respect her, no matter what. How many people have somebody in your family that's a drug addict or alcoholic that's older than you? And you looking at them because you went to college or you got your own business, and you looking at them, but you're younger, and you looking at them thinking, oh, you ain't nothing. But they might be 10 years older than you. Just think about it. They had to deal with things that you didn't have to deal with. How is your relationship with them? What do you do to go and try to make sure everything is okay between the two of you, or the three of you, or the five of you, or the six of you, or the 10 of you? What do? Do you just point the finger? Why did I think that it was so important to talk about family? I watched so many different other cultures from different places, and family is so important. And family plays a factor on your survival sometimes. I was talking to somebody today, and they was talking about just, sometimes all they want is a phone call. Just a phone call. That's it. Just how you doing? From a brother or a sister, or from an aunt or an uncle, or from a niece or a cousin. Just, hey, how you doing? One of my cousins called me the other day, and she had me so tickled. I'm not going to say her name. And, I'm going to say her name, but I ain't going to say her last name. But one of my cousins named Tammy, she called me and she said, I just called to tell you I love you. I was so happy to hear that. I'm talking we talking family structure and relationships. We ain't seen each other in a while. We ain't hung out in years. But when she called and said she loved me, it just lifted me up. My purpose for this topic today is I want you to take the time to look at yourself and your family and your relationships with your loved ones. That's husband and wives, sisters and brothers, even your neighbors too. Look at your relationships. Look how you've been treating people. Look how people are treating you. I made a promise to God this year, as He's been working with me, that I was going to try to make amends with everything and everybody that I thought I had an issue with. And I did that. I did it. And I'm okay with the results. Because I know that I have to look in the mirror. Because I know I'm not perfect. But I know what I believe in. I believe in family. I believe in the relationships. That when it was good relationships, you just feel better. With this pandemic, a lot of us are in a position now you really, really, really need your family for real. What would happen if you really lose your job or you don't have no place to live? Where are you going to go? Especially with this COVID situation. Half the people don't want to touch you and talk to you now, and they just in the grocery store or in the parking lot. But think about your relationships with your family. Think about that. Your relationship with your friends. Think about your relationships, period. How do you conduct yourself? We got people out there. I'm talking. Let's talk about the children with their parents. Children. I'm talking about grown children who think that the parents still owe them something. When I talk to some individuals, I always ask them, especially I'm talking to some young people and I'm mentoring them, I always ask them this question, especially when I see them being disrespectful to their parents. I ask them, have you ever had to wipe your mom or dad's behind? But, or you know the other word, I don't want to use profanity. I ask them, have you ever had to do that? I ask a kid that. Mostly when they like 9, 10, 11, 12, up where they can understand some conversation. I say, have you ever had to wipe their behind with bowel movement on it? Poo-poo. We know what we're talking about, right? Ask them. When I ask them that, they look at me like, they get this funny look on their face and they be like, no. I say, well, let me tell you something. For somebody to do that for you, and I don't care how old you are, they have to love you. They have to love you. And I've asked many, many young people that. It might don't seem that important at the time, but after they think about it, because you know something, even if it's your neighbor and they bring their baby over and their baby poo-poo and you smell it, you be like, can you take care of that? You don't want to smell that, you don't want to look at that. It ain't your child. It ain't your nephew. It ain't your niece. You be like, I'm not changing their parent. That's your problem. But when you had that relationship with them, you get in there and you clean them up really, really good. Think about it. Reason why I wanted to use that scenario, because also, they say what comes around, go around. Some people who had to do that for you as you were coming up, you may have to do that for them when they get older. Family and relationships. You don't know what tomorrow holds. Many people have went overseas and went to protect this country and came back with no legs, no arms. And some of the people that they had to come back and deal with was just their family. And the family had to be there to help them. But it just don't have to be a situation like that. It could be you just going to work and be in a car accident. And next thing you know, here you're paralyzed. Who would you depend on? Because the next door neighbor sure not going to bring you in the house. Not for real. It's going to be your loved ones. It's going to be that relationship that you have with the sister or brother or the niece or the nephew. I just wanted to talk about relationships, family relationships. I want to talk about it, and I want you to think about how important it is. Now let me say this. I didn't start off talking about God because that's the relationship you should have, number one, in your life. And you should treat everybody the way that you want God to treat you. So I want to say that. Now let me tell you something. Every time I mess up, I go to God and I say, God, please forgive me. Every time I mess up. And because of him, I look at him like he's my father. He's my creator, right? I look at him and I think he's supposed to. I want you to think about that. How when something go wrong or you're sick, you call on God and you say, oh God, help me, oh help me, God. And what happened then, your one of your siblings or your wife or your husband walk in the room and you'll be looking over there. And we know, let's keep it real, how God worked. He worked through them. All of a sudden they come in, you need anything? What can I do for you? You know what that's built on? Your relationship, on how they're going to treat you too. So my message today, I want you to think about your relationships with everybody. Don't think that you're in a position that nothing can go wrong. You know, every airplane that goes up in the air, I'm telling you, when it takes off, their thought is that they're going to land. Every airplane that takes off. 99.9% of everybody that takes off looks at it that when it takes off, it's going to land. Other than that, it wouldn't get on the plane. But sometimes it doesn't happen. Sometimes the plane crashes. That's your life. That's just how things are. You don't never know what tomorrow holds. So in your relationship with your family members, you should be really thinking about, you know, what's going on and how you do it. I want to talk about this here. This is really on me. We got a lot of young people that have babies, right? And they don't stay in a relationship. Let's talk about this. I'm going to keep it real. So you get mad at each other. And the two that laid down and had sex, that created the baby, now are feuding with each other. And the baby be suffering. The baby suffers because of your ignorance on how to communicate with each other with respect, love, and knowing your position. Think about that. And here the child is being affected. When I'm talking about relationships and I'm talking about family, we got a lot of people out there. What happens? Okay, I'm gonna go with the female first. I'm sorry. I'm not being biased or nothing like that, but I'm going to female first. Most of the time when the female get mad, first thing she want to do is take him for child support. She don't want him to see the child anymore. She want to go have sex with one of his buddies or do something she knows that's going to disrupt his world. And what happened? Who in the relationship suffers? The child. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. They have no idea. They just looking at the two people that they love is acting like maniacs. Why are they fighting and hurting each other instead of being like a family? Think about it. And who suffers? The question would be when you start to think about, where's my relationship? How's my relationship? You got to think about that because your relationship with each other affects the relationship with you and your child. Here now, the child is in the courtroom, got everybody in your business, unnecessarily, based on your ignorance with each other. And what the woman do? She want to go take him for child support. She wants to see him get locked up and this and that. What good is it going to do him locked up? Think about it. All you're going to do is you're going to have your child to be able to say, my father's in prison because he didn't pay child support. You know, I'm not saying that that's a good thing. And when I say for him not to take his responsibility, because I'm coming after the guy too on this part too. But I want to talk about the female just a little bit more. Why would you want to do that? You know, one of the things I remember, I have 3 children. And I have 2 sons and 1 daughter, biological. And my 2 sons have 1 mother, and my daughter have a different mom. And one of the things I try not to do is never to talk bad about their moms. Even though we had some rough times and some things that could, if I told them, it would probably hurt their heart that their mom did that or something I did. And what I'm saying is that, you know, you got to realize that it's a lot be going on that affects the children in the relationship. How does the family come together? How do you mold it? Let me talk about the man, the male. Here the guy, you lay down with this female with no protection, only for the thrill of the kill, and a baby comes out. And then you find that who you lay down with is not who you want to be with the rest of your life. And what do you do? What do you do? How do you build a relationship with your child and the parent, the mother, when you're not standing up and doing your part? When we talk about family, it's all about all of us. And let me tell you something. This is what I'm talking about is just common sense. We don't have to go to college to know these things. Let me tell you something. If you lay down together, you know 9 out of 10, if you don't have no protection, a baby's gonna come. And half of us, when we're in the moment, we don't even think about that. You thinking, oh well, I'm gonna have this baby and I'm gonna keep him in my life, and really, he probably wouldn't even think about seeing you the next day. And then what you do, you get mad because you decided to lay down with him, and the baby came out of it, and now the baby got to suffer from the negative energy that you, both parents, is putting out. I just wanted to go there for a minute. Let's move on. Maybe let's talk about relationships with your ex. And there's kids involved. Relationships with your ex. How do you deal with that? Me personally, I honestly believe you shouldn't be mad at your ex. You once loved them, you once was with them, and especially if a child was brought out of that relationship, you are just as responsible for anything that's going wrong as the other partner, male or female. It's how you conduct yourself on how the child is going to be structured. Family structure. I'm talking, all of this stays, it's in the same mode. I'm talking relationship and family. All of this is in the same structure. You get mad because now y'all divorced or y'all separated, and what do? You talk about him. He ain't this, and he ain't that. But you didn't say that while he was buying your diamonds and pearls, when everything was okay. But when y'all not like that, then you involve the child or the children and your aunts and uncles and the neighbors, and he's no longer worthy to be praised, to say that he's a good man. And the same thing vice versa. Or she's no longer in a position to be praised. You say she's a good woman. Relationships. We have to look at them. Look at the relationships and know your position. Know your position and accept your responsibility in it. And everything that goes wrong. I've been married 3 times. 3 times. This is the first marriage that I'm putting everything I got into it. Now, I'm not telling you my first marriage was not worthy of me doing that. I don't know if it was the lack of ignorance or just selfishness or immaturity or whatever. I'm not going to make no excuse for it because I didn't put everything into it like I should have. Even in my second marriage. My point I want to make is I'm accepting responsibility on my end. Now, I'm going to tell you, it's two sides to the story. They say sometimes it's three sides. It's your side, their side, and then the truth, right? But really, it's two sides. The truth is there. It's just if both sides is going to deal with it. So my point today is Real Talk Live with Rodney Grimes, people to people, power to power, positive thing to people. I just wanted to bring some things to some people's attention. Work on your relationships. Call your loved ones. You know what's funny? I told somebody else this. Think about this. You'll have a brother or sister that lives 3-4 blocks away from you, and they're mad at you for some tedious reason, and they won't call you, right? They won't even call you on the phone. Oh, and we might gonna say I'm gonna say they live 10, 15 miles from you. They won't come by and see you. They won't call you. But then when you die, they come to your funeral. Have you thought about that? They come to your funeral. But they couldn't just, you know, the way now is you can talk on the phone and call a person's name and call them. What kind of relationship is that? What kind of relationship is that? Where are you? Where are you in your relationships with your loved ones? With your children? With your mom? With your dad? Your aunts and uncles? People that made mistakes or had rough times. Where are you? Fathers, let's talk about fathers and sons. Come on now. How many fathers out here have sons that don't want to talk to them? That don't want to deal with them? Why? Is it your son's fault? Or is it yours? How many fathers out here in those positions? Let me tell you, because I ain't pointing a finger. I'm going to tell you my relationship with my sons. Sometimes my sons get mad at me and don't want to talk to me. But you know what I have to do? I have to call them. Sometimes I just call them. We just got to talk it out. And I just call them. And sometimes I'm wrong. Sometimes I just have to buckle down and say, yo, I'm sorry. Sometimes I just have to buckle down and be the father and say, I'm sorry, son, that I made a mistake. Instead of holding him accountable for my actions. And sometimes all you're doing is setting a pattern for self-destruction for your children, your son. Father and son. I always tell when I mentor to a woman who's raising her son, I say, sweetheart, I need to tell you something. You can't teach your son how to stand up and pee. I'm sorry. You can't do that. That's his father's job. Or his uncle's job. Or his godfather's job. Real Talk Live with Rodney Grimes. People to people, power to power, positive thing to people. If you just joined in, I'm talking about family and relationship. I gotta let me put my glasses on so I can see. So I want to say welcome to Kimberly Wilson, Deborah Elliott, Beth Roots, Judy Wilson, Arlene Dungy, Rachel Pope, Gerald McCoy. Welcome. Arlene, I need to tell you I have something for you. So I need you to, when you get a chance, remember this number. If you could write this number down, it's 301-793-7342. 301-793-7342. Text, or you can call that number after the show is over, please. I have something for you. So I need you to call me, please. So let me just get back. Real talk. You know what? Let's talk about husbands and wives. How many husbands in the beginning were in position that they felt like the superhero in the relationship, and then things changed, and the wife started looking down on them, started treating them different. Where are you in your relationships? How many are you going back and discussing the situations to make sure that you let the significant other know that I know you're going through something, instead of beating them up and pointing fingers at them? How many are dealing with that? You know what? I every time one of them comes to my mind, I think about it. How about grandparents with their grandchildren? What we do? We let the grandchildren get away with murder, when we should make sure that the grandchildren are being responsible for their actions. We have the wisdom, the knowledge, and a lot of times we have the finances that they don't know how to control. Real talk. Real talk. Relationships is important. Relationships with your parents, with your children, your grandchildren, your brothers, your sisters. What about half brothers and half sisters? Why would you be mad at your half brother because well, I think I was told that, I don't know if this is right, but if you got the same father, you're whole, and if you got different fathers, then you're half. That's what I was told. I'm not quite sure how that works. I always looked at it just, hey, my mom is the one we came out of, and all of them belong to me. And any ones that were conceived from another mother, but yet had the same father, I still consider you my sister or brother. That I ain't had nothing to do with that. I know one thing, that when we look at our genes, somehow or another, we're going to be connected. Very, 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 very important for us to understand your position, knowing how you fit in the relationship, how do you deal with the relationship. A lot of people want to blame people for different things, and you're blaming them when you should be looking at yourself. Look at yourself. Especially if you're older. Look at yourself. You set a pattern. You set a pattern. If you're older, you set a pattern. The younger ones follow what you do. And you want to look at them and talk about them. When they watching you do these crazy things that they start to mimic. Same thing with the parents in their house. If you're in the house as a parent and you sit back smoking a cigarette or smoking a joint and cussing, your children are going to do the same thing. Family and relationships. Think about it. What they see is what they're going to mimic. Most of the time that's happening. Now, I know a lot of people, my father was an alcoholic. I'm not. I really don't like being drunk. I hated it when my dad was intoxicated. I hated it. So I went opposite. I don't like to be intoxicated. I don't like my brain to be altered. I can't stand it. And every time that I put myself in that situation, that's what I think about. I start thinking about my father. He had a drinking problem. I didn't want nothing to do with nothing like that. Now, but the one thing that I realized though is this. I'm gonna tell you something. What I know for a fact, and this is, you can Google it or you can go check this with the doctors, whatever. If you have people in your family that have alcohol problems, your chances of becoming an alcoholic is very, very good. It's more than 50%. It could be in your DNA. And in a situation like that, who would you, I mean, you looking at your parents saying, oh, he was a drunk, this and that. That's why I don't talk about my dad negative anymore. I used to. I don't talk about him negative anymore because I don't know what really caused him to drink. But I know that I didn't want to be like that. And I know how it affected our family. And I know how it affected our relationship. You notice the words I keep using, family and relationship. That's what I'm talking about. You know, a lot of us what I try to do, and I've tried it several times, and I'll do it again as well when I get the opportunity. I like to get my kids together and talk to them so that they can hear from me my past trials and tribulations I had to deal with in my life. Things I had to deal with to help me. So that they had learned how to deal with them as well. Then I don't find myself pointing the finger at them. I want to just take a break real quick. This is Rodney Grimes. This is Real Talk Live. Real Talk Live with Rodney Grimes. People to people, power to power, positive to people. I want to talk about something. I'm giving people just an update on something that's going on. So, this is a gift basket put together with what's this Louis Vuitton purse in it with some Bath and Body Works items that was purchased by one of our individuals who watch the show on a regular basis, Victoria Howard Roy. I know she probably didn't want me to tell, but I just wanted to give her the credit. I don't want people to assume, you know, she blessed us. She purchased this. It was on the show last Monday, and she purchased it, and then she actually donated it to be put up for everyone who sends $5 to the app, the $RG1960. The $RG1960. $5. Your name will go into a drawing for next Friday. If you put one $5 bill in, that's fine. Your name going one time. If you put a $20 bill in, your name goes in 4 times. But we will do the drawing next Friday, and some people have already started. And I'm a little tickled and I'm excited because I just can't wait till we do the drawing and somebody will be blessed with this beautiful this bag, Louis Vuitton. Yeah, really nice. And you know, I can't put my $5 in there because if y'all see my wife walking around, y'all gonna think I rigged this, so I can't do that. But I definitely wanted to put that out there. So again, it's the $RG1960. And what we're doing is we're doing different things to bless people and to also accomplish our goals with the production. So, Louis Vuitton. It's a nice, big, beautiful bag. Yes. So, the drawing will be next Friday, which will be, I think, November 27th. And we'll do it Real Talk Live with Lady Z, where she will be assisting me at the time. And we will pull the name. And we got some people already. They was calling and they was cash apping the $5 or whatever they wanted to do, and they serious. And for the guys, it's a good gift to give to your girlfriend, good gift to give to your wife, good gift to give to your mother. So you know, and you talking about you can win this just with $5, God willing. $5. You put $5, your name going twice. You put $10, your name. If you put $5, your name going once. You put $10, your name going twice. You put $20, your name going 4 times. You put $40, your name going 8 times. Whatever you contribute to the Cash App toward this project, this Louis Vuitton bag, the drawing will be November 27th. Real Talk Live, and most definitely, I'm excited because we had an opportunity for some of the people who got their gifts and won some gifts and stuff. We were able to get their stuff delivered to them. Kim, thank you so much for your patience. I send you peace and blessings. Thank you so much, sweetheart. Thank you so much. I was able to get her stuff to her today. Lynn Nelson, we purchased something for her birthday, and that was delivered today. And I'm just excited. And Arlene, I have something I want you again. I need you to after this is over, please get in touch with me at 301-793-7342. I have something I need to share with you that's very, very important. Okay? But let's get back. Let's get back. Real Talk Live. Real Talk Live. We're talking about relationships. How is your relationship with you and your sisters and your brother? How is it? And you know what's funny? So I was talking to somebody. The relationships between the sisters is good, but the relationship between the aunts and the niece ain't good. Why? What causes that friction? The sisters are good, but the niece is not. Somewhere along the line, it was a position change where somebody got thrown off. And life is too short to be going around hating each other over something that's so not important. Something that's really, really not that important for you to be crying the blues over. Many of us have been put in situations where we had to help raise somebody else's child, right? You've been there, doing your part. And after everybody gets grown, then the person look at you and start trying to find you in position to blame for something that their child is going through. When it's your kid, they want to blame you. I know females who have raised their sister's children, and the sister will talk about her terrible. But she took her time and opened up her arms and raised that other sister's kids. We need to look at ourselves and check our relationships. I always go back to when I do something wrong, this is how I look at it. When I go to God and I say, God, please forgive me for what I did, because I didn't mean to do that, or I don't want that pain on me, or I don't want to, as they say, you reap what you sow. I don't want the curse on my family or something like that. I go back and I look at my position. I look at my position. Real talk. I wanted to do this special today because I want people to take this opportunity. I'm telling you, the pandemic, we're going through a rough time right now. I pray to God that everything get lifted up, but people are dying, people are getting sick, and it's building and building. And Lord knows when it get real cold, and the flu start really kicking in, we're going to have a lot of issues going on. But that's when you need to be thinking about your family members, thinking about building your relationships, what you're doing to prepare yourself, to have that bond where the blood do be thicker than the water. Think about that. Or do you want to wait till somebody's in their casket? I'm not going to call the name, but an individual I mentored, she said, she called me Pop, she said, I remember when you told me to close my eyes and picture my loved one in the casket. And then they found themselves in that situation. But I tried to tell them that it's not a good feeling. I tried to tell them that. And they kind of felt like it was a little too late, because they wanted to make amends on some things. Look in the mirror. Look at yourself. Find out, your position. Know your position. Know your position. Stepchildren. Let's talk about them. Stepchildren, you can't get mad when one of your parents, or both your parents, they marry somebody else. They get in another relationship. Right? Now, when they're in a relationship, you got to respect that. Because your parents, male or female, is sleeping with somebody else who they loving and they building their life with. And you are not over there cooking dinner. You're not wiping their nose when they got a cold. You're not paying the bills. You're not doing none of that. But you want to be mad. You want to get mad at your step-parents. You want to blame them for different situations. You ain't even living in their house, but you want to be mad at them about something. Let me tell you something. Check your relationship out with yourself. Check your relationship out with yourself. Because I'm going to tell you something. You could be in the same shoes. We as a family, you know, if you understand your position and understand the family structure, a lot of that uncomfortable feelings you won't have. You won't have. If you just look in the mirror and look at yourself. You can't be mad at the stepfather. You can't be mad at the stepmother. And a lot of people, you know, this is what's funny. Okay? You got the children, they're in a good relationship, everything's going good. And then all of a sudden, down the line, they find themselves that they breaking up. You know what? You end up in the same situation as well. You got some kids, you go get in another relationship, and here you got a stepmom, or you a stepmom, or you a stepdad. Think about the relationships. Even with, you know what I had to learn? I want my daughters to be happy, but I can't pick who my daughter is going to be with. So what I have to do is I have to let it be what it is. Their choice. And live with it. As long as the drama ain't inside of my household, I can't be mad with who they choose. I'm going to give you a scenario. If one of my daughters in a relationship and somebody putting their hands on them, whoever that is going to have to deal with me. But once I go and deal with them, and my daughters, they go back, they on their own. They're on their own. I'm not going to put myself in a position where the relationships are going to start disrupting me. And I said that to say, if there's any type of relationship out there that you don't have no control over, and the person wants to be in that negative environment, let them go, let them be. Work on your relationship and your surrounding that you can control. And try to be the best you can be. The only thing I can do now is just be an example. That's what I'm really, man, I just thank God and give him praise. I thank God that I've come to the reality, the realization of who I am. I know I'm not perfect, but I'm working on me. I'm not working on you. I ain't working on my brother. I ain't working on my sister. I ain't working on my mother. I ain't working on my kids. I'm working on me. I'm sick of working even on my wife. My wife is who she is. I have to do my part. You know what I figured out? If I'm good to her, if I'm being a good husband, I'm being a godly man, I'm being a good father, I'm being a good son, she gonna love me. And if she don't, that's her stupidity. But I can't force her to be what I want her to be. I have to work on me. And that's vice versa. If you want relationships to move forward in your family, work on you first. Don't expect everybody to understand your position. No, work on you first and be the best you can be and be an example. And then you can come around and you can say, you know what? I changed my life. This is how it is, you know. And you ain't even got to say nothing because they'll see it. Somebody told me that too. Actually, my mom just told me the other day. She said, you know what? You don't even have to tell people what God's doing for you. They'll see it. So true, Mom. That's it. I'm getting to the point I'm starting to learn. I do a lot of talking on Real Talk Live because that's what this program is about, is networking and trying to move forward. But I'm getting to the point now I'm learning certain times keep my mouth shut. Don't even say nothing. Especially if I ain't the one that can fix the whole situation. Can you tell me what time it is?
8:04.
Okay. Real Talk Live with Rodney Grimes. People to people, power to power, positive people. I'm getting ready to shut this down. I didn't want to be long. I'm glad it's just I looked at it as an hour special. Family and relationship. Think about it. Look in the mirror and check yourself out. Know your position. I'm talking about fathers with your daughters. If you look at what you're doing. Look at the things that you say around them and how you treat them. Fathers with your sons. Come on now. You can't be mad at your son if he don't want to talk to you, if you ain't been a positive influence in his life. You can't be mad at him. Call him and tell him you apologize. Call him and tell him I'm sorry. I'm sorry that I wasn't there for you. And I ain't trying to be your super father now. I'm just trying to be a decent man. Same thing with the mothers. And you know something? Before I end, and I'm getting ready to end, that's a cue for my wife to get up to get ready to cut this off. Remember, you're only responsible for yourself. Nobody else's feelings. You can't control their feelings. You're responsible. When Judgment Day comes, you're responsible for your actions. And Judgment Day will come for you. You will have to come to that point where you're going to be on your dying bed and you're going to have to deal with a lot of things. That's where you're going to be. How will you be in that position? You will be there one day. We all, once we're born, we're going to die. That's a fact. So what I'm saying is that please, 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 look at your relationships on your jobs, in your churches. Look at your relationships and work on you first before you start passing judgment. And anything that you can't fix, don't worry about it. Keep it moving. Sometimes you gotta love people from a distance. You can still love them. You can still love them. Hey, how you doing, Tina? Tina, welcome. Real Talk Live. I would like for a lot of you to think about this what I talked about and share it with your brothers and sisters and your nieces and nephews. Tell them to listen to this. Your relationships is so important. Know your position. And don't hold on to grudges that, don't mean nothing. And accept your responsibility in whatever went wrong. How can you be mad at somebody when you had a big part to play in it too? Come on. I ain't afraid to say this. My daughter's spoiled rotten. And sometimes everybody reminds me of that when things go bad. And I have to accept that because I did. I spoiled her. I don't like when she's not doing what I want her to do or not, handling her business. But it is what it is. So what I have to do at this point, I just back off. Love from a distance. That's the same thing with my sons. My nieces. I got nieces that some of them, I don't even know why they mad at me. I don't even care. I got people that don't even speak to me. I don't even really know why. But I don't even care. You know why? Because I'm not trying to fix them. I'm working on me. And what I know by me is that everybody in my family knows I'm always just a phone call away. They know my character. They know what I stand for. And what I do is I just work on me. I'm telling you out there, this is, my final word I'm trying to tell you. Please, 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 please put yourself in a position where you look at yourself first. Call somebody and tell them you love them. If they don't want to accept your love, as long as you did your part, that's all that matters. Keep it moving. But don't go to the funeral after you've been mean to them. I told somebody today, I don't want you to, if you haven't called and told me you love me, or you haven't called to check on me, if I die today or tomorrow, please do not come to my funeral. I don't need you to be coming standing over my body. For what? It's a waste of time. What I need you to do in this day and time is to say, hey, I hope you're doing all right. Send a card or call, or just pray for me. Check yourself. Look in the mirror. Check your relationships. Know your position. Ask yourself, is your family for real? Is blood thicker than water? For real? Know if you're being responsible. If it was your fault, don't be too ashamed to apologize. Put yourself in that position so you can work on building that family bond. Because your family is everything. That's all you got. That's all you got. Bottom line. Believe me, if you end up blind, crippled, and crazy, everybody else will walk by you. But it'll be one of your family members that can walk by and they'll say, I can't leave them there because they're your family. Just remember that. In closing, remember, we have this Louis Vuitton bag with some body wash in it. It's going to, what you do, you $5 to the Cash App. It's the $RG1960. $5. Everybody that sends $5 or more, the drawing is next Friday, November 27th. If you send $5, your name go in the drawing one time. This was purchased by one of our listeners. She purchased it. It's a $90 package. All you have to do, you put $5 in your chance to win. Okay? It's the $RG1960. Okay? Cash that. And if you put $20, your name going 4 times. If you put $25, your name going 5 times. And so on and so on. So, again, this is the package. We thank Victoria for her putting this up. And I appreciate it so much. God bless you all. And I ask you to continue to keep me in prayer and stay focused. And remember, treat people the way you want to be treated. Somebody told me, what would God do? That's what somebody said. God bless. Real Talk Live with Rodney Grimes. People to people, power to power, power to think of people. Handle your business. Remember, family and relationship.